seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
This is a journo-rat-felting emergency appeal. Every day, video game journalists like Lolyssa Mercante are suffering from a mind virus called YouTuber derangement syndrome. The symptoms include intense narcissism, smugness, bizarrely inflated sense of self-importance, and above all else, an obsession with how much money YouTubers make. Particularly when they make that money covering journalists with this affliction. A little money can make all the difference to curing this terrible affliction, so please, donate anything you can, $2, $5, channel memberships, a $50 super sticker, to your nearest YouTuber. And help the spying, snitching, journo trash learn once and for all that they are irrelevant maniacs who you wouldn't piss on if they were on fire. Thank you.
Don't watch. Turn off the TV. Go and touch grass, please, for God's sake.
But it's me, Mario!
Yeah, tell it to the judge.
It's astounding! This mortal really is something else. Look at that brilliant form! There can be no doubt. This is the true power, complete in all its majesty. This is Autonomous Ultra Incel!
Engines roar through the ash-gray skies. The wasteland burns, but hope won't die. Every screen's a twisted lie, built to break us, make us comply. They poison the heroes, rewrite the tales, turn legends to dust, leave us frail. But we're not done, we won't bow down. Through the wreckage, we'll take the crown. Steel hearts ignite, fire in our veins. Freedom's calling, breaking the chains. They can't erase what we already know. HyperDrive now, let's fucking go. HyperDrive time, we're burning the night, blazing through shadows, our story tonight. Will all the fans come ride with me as we laugh at foolish hypocrisy? HyperDrive time, it's now or it's never, as long as they rule the fucking go forever. Forever. Oh, forever. Forever. Go forever.
Yeah. All right, everybody. That's right. It's time once again. Give me a mic check. I gotta know if I'm sounding like I should. Things have been jank around here for a little while now, but we're not having any more of that rubbish. Ladies, gentlemen, and of course, nothing in between. Welcome once again to another voyage of discovery, racing as we do through the wastes of the internet to the further reaches of our sanity on a never-ending quest to rid the universe of absolute bollocks. Yeah, baby. That's the plan. We got a lot to talk about. The internet's been a crazy place, and I have not been around for enough of it. So, of course, before we set off, please ensure you keep your eyeballs firmly screwed to the screen, of course, at all times. Or rather, keep your brain inside the vehicle at all times with your eyeballs firmly screwed to the screen. Can't even remember my own shtick, my own patter. Of course, it is still very early in the morning for me, and I haven't had a lot of sleep, but it's drive time somewhere. And that means it's hyperdrive time everywhere. So let's see who's joining us so far along for the ride. Dividing Dragon is here, as he is wont to be at certain times, like right now, blessing everybody in a happy, non-denominational way. And we like a bit of that around here, don't we? Yes, we do. Sardox Spamfish is here shouting, "Hi, my grifters. What up, my G words? What up, knee gators?" How long can you get away with saying that? We'll find out, of course. We got emojis being spammed in the chat. We got rips. We got Lolyssas. We got boobies, apparently. Well, we did get some boobies a few hours ago when we hit tier 1 during WTF Live, and I felt like it's only fair. I can't start another bar already. So let's just keep the same bar going and see if we can fill it up. See, because I want to play some Expedition 33, and I will a little later on. But if we can fill the bar, we will, of course, be doing it double time. And that would be nice because I got to get through that game. There's new stuff coming out and I'm permanently behind. Yeah, it's almost as if gaming can't really take priority over real life 90% of the time. So help me to help you. Of course, as well, who else we got? Sheila B is here, shouting out howdy to Dividing Dragon. We got St. Hugo. Hello to you. James Op, as well as Nameless. Damn it, Nameless there. Taking ownership, taking responsibility like a good viewer. Whatever. Normally calling me late and gay. Today himself was late and gay, but we won't hold that against anybody. Not everybody knows about these streams. They don't always get projected out there. That's why I always ask simply that you like the stream.
Like the stream.
There's a button you can click and it helps others to find it because there are lost souls out there who need a little bit of help to find sanity. As of course, your in-flight entertainment can be found, though most of you are already members, by hitting the join button to join the Grift Force. Helps to keep the ship in the skies. Well, actually, I'm starting to wonder if some of you might prefer another way of backing the channel, one that doesn't quite have so much of a, cash grab from certain interwoven entities. In the meantime, perhaps you would prefer that. It's something I'm going to have to talk about fairly soon to see if we can get just a bit of a better deal for everybody involved. So maybe we should do that instead, but we'll find out. In the meantime, we have plenty of stuff to talk about because it's been a little bit of a while since we have been able to really let loose and unpack. It's been like half a week or so since I've been able to do this show. Of course, everything, you know what's going on with me. You know I got family stuff going on. So that's right. We need to catch up on a lot of stuff. There was some Disney stuff that went almost under everybody's radar I wanted to talk about. Of course, Pal World has been getting beaten down by Nintendo. And of course, we've got some fairly good news too. We've got some Assassin's Creed garbage. We've got some Doctor Who trash. And we've got a little bit of positivity surrounding Claire Obscure Expedition 33, a game that is now firmly entrenched in my brain and will not release me no matter what I do. Help me out, please. Let me play this game. Let me finish it already. I got to. So there's that. And of course, yes, family does come first, but wherever possible, gaming needs to come next. All right. So thank you very much. Johnny Guillotine is also here, by the way. Shout out to you. Alyssa's favorite song, probably many men have. Whoa. You know for a fact I can't read that out. I can't read that out. I'll get clipped for days. Got Coom watching you in her eyes, and can't see him trying to be a celebrity, and my dad is part of the patriarchy. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm giving you a shout out for that one. Not bad. Almost got me. Yeah, almost got me. You almost got me to say a bunch of gay shit, but not today, baby. I may have only been up for 40 minutes, but got to get up a little earlier than that to get me to start saying shit like that. Alrighty, of course, let's see what else. Of course, if you want Beyond the Grift Force to just help me out, help yourselves out. Of course, if you have any questions, comments, or you just need to pull over for a second because it all gets too much for you. It's disgusting out there. I completely understand. Don't forget to, grease the wheels a little. Tip your driver, just like St. Hugo has, for €5. Yeah, boy. Says, from one gaming dad to another, do the good work. You know it. You know it. There's I know a lot of people don't like to talk about it, personal situations on YouTube. It's such a huge part of who I am. I don't mind it. It's just I'm obviously a very happy man at the moment. Very proud to have become a father. Very proud to have been exploring this sort of dream of mine that I've had since childhood. And you guys helped me to do that. It's really rewarding, and I appreciate you guys for it very, very much. Kayfabe aside, all that is, of course. But to get back in character, yeah, baby, we gotta talk some shit. Thank you very much, St. Hugo. I appreciate it, man. It is hard to find time. There really are not enough hours in the day. You need about 30 every day to be able to do everything that I need to do. And there it is. Exactly. Johnny Guillotine's here as well. Hello to you. And Nameless says can't get doxed if it's already out there. Yep, there's something that a lot of people are still not quite learning yet. So there it is. So thank you very much to everybody supporting the show so far. We're going to get into some topics. We're going to start with a little bit of Doctor Who. It's a nice way for me to warm up things on the show. And there just never ends. There's a never-ending conveyor belt of absolute cringe surrounding Doctor Who at the moment because, it's Doctor Who, isn't it? It's always going to be cringe from now until the cows come home. Hopefully those cows will come home much sooner than RTD, Ncuti Gatwa, Disney, BBC, etc., are expecting, because we're the ones pushing them through the gates back to home. Anyway, let's see now. What is Genty Maxi saying? Who? Yeah, right. Of course. And there it is. Still, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, then. We are going to go ahead and just check out a little bit of Doctor Who news. What's with the questioning? Who's that? Who dat? Till the cows come home. Oh, Alyssa, yes, she's coming home. Yes. It's like Take Me Home Country Road, except without the tree road. So there you go. In the meantime, Doctor Who. Obviously, we're in the middle of the second, 15th, or 41st series of Doctor Who at the moment, and very few channels are still covering it. I'm covering it. I think Mr. H Reviews is still covering it. I know Disbrew is still covering it, although he can't pronounce Ncuti Gatwa's name. Or he's doing it as a joke, calling him Cutie Gatwa. Okay, buddy. All right. Now we like you, Disbrew. Of course, but the show is terrible. It's complete trash. It's maddening trash to watch. You've seen me freaking out about a couple of things in it. Not really freaking out generally throughout the whole series. I've just been laughing at the pathetic attempts by RTD to actually felt the fans by bashing his head against a brick wall, trying to insult us with jokes like Planet of the Incels, hashtag RIP Doctor Who actually being in the episode, an entire episode dedicated to trying to embarrass perceived alt-right, fuck's sake, alt-right, ultra incel freaking conspiracy theorists. Newsflash, there's not much theorizing necessary these days. Every conspiracy is getting outed, and we've all been vindicated for that. And of course, the most recent episode, which was a total waste of time, really accomplished nothing, was maddening at certain points with how nonsensical it was. And then the rest of the time, we also had, you know, the line trolls on the web. Because you just can't. They literally just cannot, in any way at all, let it go that we are constantly humbling them. They just can't let it go. Really, really, they can't. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. But there you go. Of course. So Doctor Who's continuity lies in pretty much ruins at this point. And yeah, that's fair, I suppose. But yeah, we're looking at a situation here where you really need to strip it down, look at it. Not in that way. Not in that way, Gatwa. No, Gatwa. No, stop.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. This is sounding really gay.
Indeed, it is. And we don't like that. We don't like that at all. Not at all. But hey, there it is. Now, let's see if we can't get 5 super chats in the next hour. We will go right ahead and see if we can. Now, let's see, we're getting invaded, by the way. We are getting justifiably raided by the boss man himself, Mr. Hypnotic Live. And thank you very much for that. What you guys been playing? Let me know what's up. I'm still desperately trying to get myself back onto Expedition 33. But in the meantime, we're going to laugh at this article because this has come from a website called fangirlish.com, which is obviously representing the demographic that Mr. Rampant Time Lord Defiler et al. Are actually looking for. They want people to be going, "Ooh, Doctor Who is so modern and progressive," and blah, 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 bollocks. Spears in the chat, guys. I see you, Raiders. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you. Stick around. We're going to be on Doctor Who for a few minutes, and then we're going straight down the rabbit hole of doom with the mercanting. And, of course, a bit of Kirsche, too, because we talked about the stuff on WTF Live, but I still have a hell of a lot of required reading to do. So join me in making that something bearable as I try to catch up with everything I've been missing the last week. So, Doctor Who Series 2, Episode 5, The Story in the Engine. Not even a very good title, literally just what it is. Although, to be fair, none of that actually makes any sense. What kind of engine is powered by stories? Okay, fine. That's not actually out of the realm of Doctor Who. The ridiculous part, of course, comes in when it turns out that engine being powered by stories is... fuck it. Let's just show you. Of course, this little barbershop is actually on the back of a giant armored space spider roaming through space or something on a web of something made of something doing something for some reason that we'll never really understand because the writing in this episode falls apart almost from this point to the end. So they're on the back of the giant galactic story powered spider engine. Hello, this is Sanity. Can you hear me over there in La La Land, in Goo Goo Gaga world of absolute mumbo jumbo nonsense bullshit? Have you had enough fun riding the mysterious space spider robot on the back of which is a fucking barbershop, an African barbershop from a ghetto in Lagos? I thought it jumped the shark last week. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me with this? You fucking what? Cringe. 100% freaking cringe. Yeah, so that sort of brings you up to speed on just exactly how insane with the quality of writing is that we are having to deal with in Doctor Who at the moment, guys. If you're not watching, that's good. That means I'm accomplishing my mission to review every cringe episode of Doctor Who so that you guys don't actually have to watch it. Something they're trying to make more difficult by announcing that the finale will be simulcast everywhere, including in cinemas. Can only save so many people, guys. Hold the line. I will review it when I can. So it says here, Doctor Who Series 2, Episode 5, The Story in the Engine is a delight on many fronts. Are you sure about that? Set in, I don't know how you pronounce it. Everyone's got a different one. Some people are saying Lagos, some people saying Lagos, some people saying Laos, Nigeria. That's right. The 15th Doctor gives himself a bit of a holiday by visiting an old friend he met as a young boy in a fire. I'm an old friend who is now like 40 odd and has some serious gay tension with the Doctor, a couple of points in it. His name also happens to be Omo, which of course has given rise to the word homosexual. Because of course it has. Of course it has.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. This is sounding really gay.
After strolling through a busy marketplace, the Doctor and shaking hands with everybody and pretending to be African. Remember, this guy is a fucking alien from another planet who just happens to have regenerated into a black body now and appears to have picked up a whole bunch of progressive fucking hang-ups with it. Anyway, he goes there for his old friend, but instead of a welcome visit, he finds himself trapped in another dimension. He also meets a deadly new foe, known only as the Barber. That's right, because this episode was actually written by Vince McMahon in the 1980s. Penned by Nigerian playwright Inua Elums, which of course is why we ended up with a story about a engine of doom being powered by stories told in an African barbershop. Because apparently the guy also wrote a bunch of plays and poems and stuff set in barbershops. So when RTD got wind this guy wanted to write an episode, he hired him on the spot, obviously because he's African, and then told him he can't write what he wants to write because they already have an episode like that. So what you're going to do instead is write us a story about a barbershop. I mean, that's not even just racial profiling. That's racial profiling and professional profiling. Get in the sea, RTD. It's a perfect story, apparently, not just for between Gatwa himself, but actors Sule Rimi and Arion Bakare, both of whom had previously appeared on Doctor Who. You just can't find anyone, can you, Russell? Didn't think so. Episode even features Michelle Asante as Anansi's daughter. Yes, the daughter of Anansi. Unlikely. Abena, one surprise appearance no one saw coming was Joe Martin's fugitive Doctor. Yes, this is a woman who never should have been inserted into the canon and immediately ties this episode to the worst canon destruction in the entire history of the show, The Timeless Children, which retconned the lore of the Doctor and wrecked everything pretty much forever. We are in a post-Timeless Children world watching Doctor Who right now, which is one of the major reasons the show is never going to recover, because even though people might have thought they were trying not to deal with it directly, and RTD was supposed to be touted to undo that lore destruction with a nice retcon. No, they've doubled down. Yeah. He has fulfilled his destiny. Fugitive Doctor originally appeared as Ruth Clayton in the series 12 episode Fugitive of the Jadoon. God, that was a fucking piece of shit. Originally presented as an innocent victim of the Jadoon, she later revealed to be an alias for another incarnation of the Doctor, because apparently there are infinite incarnations of the Doctor now that existed before the first Doctor. That's right. The retcon was that the Doctor is not a Time Lord. The Doctor is the reason Time Lords exist. And also the Doctor was originally a little black girl. Yeah. The 13th Doctor spends the rest of the series 12 shaken by the blah, 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 blah. Never recovers these memories, but apparently remembers enough to be able to temporarily appear as, or is viewed as, the fugitive Doctor in order to answer this person's question. It doesn't make sense, all right? It doesn't make sense. But anyway, recovers the chameleon arch that has them stored, but instead of reclaiming the lost memories, stores them inside the TARDIS until it really needs them. Blah 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 blah. Moment may have arrived off screen following the events of Doctor Who Series 1 finale. That's 14 or 40 to you and me. Empire of Death. What? I'm sorry. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you writing the script for the people making the show? Are you doing that? I would have thought it was made abundantly clear that that was not an effective way of defending crap writing back when we had The Last Jedi. But okay, whatever. Keep ball washing. Since the Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials in 2023, Russell T Davies has been focusing on the show's more otherworldly elements. No, he's been writing straight magical fucking fiction. He hasn't written any sci-fi for years. This led to the creation of a whole new villains in the form of the Pantheon of Gods. They're called the Pantheon of Chaos, actually. Do your research. Maestro, Lux, Not Things, Goblins, Toymaker, Meep. Fuck. It was trash. Anyway, the biggest return was Sutek, who was a bad guy from the 1970s when the Tom Baker was the Doctor, who was brought back in the form of a giant Anubis-style jackal that has been riding the fucking TARDIS for thousands of years, waiting for the right episode or right moment to strike back and take revenge on the Doctor. Been getting a free ride this whole time. All this time, just sticking around, hanging out on the TARDIS, never actually doing anything, even at moments when the Doctor was, almost killed or compromised in some fashion by other greater villains, and he could have just jumped off and yeeted the universe when he wanted to. Apparently, no, he didn't do that. He waited until now to do that. That doesn't even make sense within the bad canon of the bad canon. It's completely ridiculous. In fact, completely ridiculous. Like, it's almost impossible to actually explain in time to you guys. But this obviously is showing us that they don't have a fucking clue how to fix the lore destruction here. They don't have a clue at all. They're just going to lean on the fact that Sutek was brought back and try to use scripts that wasn't there and theories that may explain a huge, huge hole in the plot. Like, how has he detailed recollections? How has he recollected the details of the adventures from his past incarnations off screen? Nothing needs to make sense, guys. Nothing.
Damn you! Sutek gets filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Damn you, Sutek!
Show ain't no good.
Absolute bollocks. This is absolute bollocks, guys. The very thing we are here to destroy. That is enough of that. I can't take it anymore. I even just looked ahead on that article and realized they're never going to actually try to explain anything. It's just about ball washing the show's creators, and frankly, they got enough dickheads to do that. Almost everybody associated with the show now is gay, so I think they've got plenty of ball washing already done. Oh, well then. Let's move on. We got some other stuff to talk about. Another thing I missed last week was the Assassin's Creed Shadows consultant who said that Asian men living in the West were more outraged about the Ubisoft game than the people living in Japan. And, well, frankly, that's not true. That's not remotely true. The most watched video by a large margin that I have ever had on this channel was supported by hundreds and hundreds of people in Japan, writing nice, positive thank you messages in the comments in Japanese. Sorry, but what's the simpler solution here? A bunch of guys in the West wrote messages in Japanese, or a bunch of Japanese people happened to get it through the algorithm, enjoyed it, and commented. Which one of these makes more sense? Let me think now. Yeah. If you hear horses, or rather, if you hear clip clop, you don't think zebras. Okay? You think horses. It's called Occam's razor and it exists for a fucking reason. Okay. Let's continue. According to the personal recollection of Assassin's Creed Shadows' historical culture consultant. It's probably the last time I'm ever going to talk about this game, by the way. The game is felted beyond belief, but it is funny. It is funny to see him still scrambling and coping and seething over a game that has completely and totally failed, demonstrably so. Professor fucking Schmidt-Hori. Oh, of course, this is the woman, isn't it? This is the person who refused to refer to herself as Hori Schmidt, because it sounds too much like holy shit. Asian male players living in the West were far more outraged and offended. How do you know that? How could you know that? You've just been watching fucking Shuhei Yoshida, haven't you? Not Shuhei Yoshida, Shohei Kondo. Apologies. Similar names. By Ubisoft's various cultural missteps than anyone actually living in Japan, with many seeing the game as yet another attack on Asian masculinity. I'm not buying that whatsoever. A legacy to follow from the past. No, I'm sorry. Professor Schmidt-Hori, who currently holds a position as the Associate Professor of Japanese Culture and Literature at Dartmouth, you are a singularly inept person, Miss Holy Shit. Fuck it, I'll just call it that. Yeah, she is a massive Karen. Of course she is. Yeah. I can try and find a picture of Miss Holy Shit. Let's have a look. Oh dear. Yeah, she's an Asian Karen. That's exactly what she is. Yeah. Dear, oh dear. You know, when you see people like this and you see their faces and you see the miserable, I just sucked on a lemon expression they get on their faces, I want you to remember that my wife looks nothing like this. Okay. Ask Smash JT. He's seen her. Nuances in our Asian stories. If you are so put together and seem very high functioning, very illogical, very good at verbal communication, people think you might be a con artist because it's so not what Japanese people value as a sign of integrity. Oh, you are insufferable, aren't you? Dear, oh dear. I kind of wish that she had never realized that Hori Schmidt is a thing. That would have been funny as fuck. Still, we have to take what we can get. We do. Serves as the game's consultant in pre-modern Japanese culture and language. Well, you didn't do a very good job, did you? You didn't do a very good job with the Chinese architecture and enough things that people could just absolutely rip the piss out of regarding that game. Japan was having the most hilarious time, literally just making mockery songs using AI. It was brilliant. It was a good time. Reflected on her experience both working on Shadows. It's amazing, isn't it, how Shadows disappeared up its own ass? Like, in less than a month, no one was talking about it anymore. 1,000 times more people were talking about this game before it came out than afterwards. Astonishing. Speaking to her contributions to Yasuke and Naoe's adventures, Schmidt-Hori began by admitting how, initially, I think they didn't know how useful I would be, particularly as she didn't know any of the backstories. They just asked me to conduct some research, and I agreed to do it. Well, you didn't do a very good job, frankly. Small projects, usually fact-check related. Sometimes they'd send me photos of Buddhist temples that exist in today's Japan and ask me to verify if something similar could have existed in the 16th century. Was that before or after you coded the ability of the player to run into these temples and smash them to pieces? Man, I'm so glad you guys saved me from playing that fucking game. Or they'd ask me about like how certain groups of people were treated in the period. It was the kind of things you just cannot Google. So how did you figure it out? Where did you get your information from, huh? Because you basically have two choices in this world. You either Google it and then discern for yourself what is probably true or not, or you go with authoritative sources, which in the end ultimately just means that you have absolutely no truth to what you're reporting whatsoever. Usually by Googling it and doing no actual amount of discernment whatsoever yourself. So yeah, she Googled it. She didn't do any fucking work. Come on, these people never work. If they did, they'd produce better stuff, frankly. Look at what was achieved with Expedition 33, just by the people knowing a bit about their culture. Anyway, so apparently she was asked to revise Shadow's script for historical inaccuracies and inconsistencies, as well as anything that could be deemed culturally insensitive. You mean like smashing their temples, being able to loot the graves of the imperial family, or the fact that there was never a black samurai ever in Japan in that particular period? Or it could be even simpler stuff like, you know, having Naoe kicking the shit out of hundreds and hundreds of guys and killing them while weird sort of aggressive girl punk pop plays in the background. Ridiculous. To this end, the professor admitted that sometimes we had to compromise, though she claimed this usually only happened in regards to less glaring details. For an example of such a compromise, Schmidt-Hori pointed to Naoe's father, Fujibayashi Nagato, and revealed Nagato is not his name, but rather Nagato is the province of which he was the governor. So his real world name would be Fujibayashi Nagato no Kami something something. Something something. Bitch, if you don't know, who does? Oh, right. Anybody with access to Google who doesn't follow the lessons of Thomas Rokuri. From there, academic, blah, 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 backlash level toward the game and individual staff. As soon as the materials came out, I became a very easy target. You could look me up, my email address, my office location in a non-secure building of our campus, multiple social media accounts. So are you claiming you got harassed in this game where you were in charge of cultural sensitivity? But immediately we can see right there this gigantic black man from wherever the fuck he was supposedly born, just impaling a fucking Japanese guy in feudal Japan. Interesting. Wouldn't have really been very difficult to get things right. It was okay for Sucker Punch. They managed to pull it off. What's your fucking excuse, bitch? Oh, you don't have one? That's what I thought. So yeah, anyway, that's it. Basically, this chick failed miserably in her job, and it turns the whole narrative, as usual, into her getting attacked, her getting threatened by angry Asian men who apparently were in the West. She says it's white supremacist, white supremovich nationalist ideology couched as being sympathetic. White supremacists tend to use Asians or Asian Americans as a tool to oppress black people and Latinos. Fuck! Oh, wow. It'll never stop, will it? It'll never stop. It's very, very typical. And it's unfortunate that some Asian Americans become sympathetic to white supremacy. Oh, my God. What are you dribbling about, you batshit insane, crazy woman? You're literally married to someone whose name is Schmidt. What's your excuse? She says she wrote a book about transgenerational male love in medieval Buddhist monastery.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. This is sounding really gay.
The US, a favorite denouncement of the far right is that the left, including people like Hillary Clinton, run those rings, you know. And it's only that there's a whole bunch of evidence that suggests that that might be the case. Yeah. And here I was, this woke so-called academic who wrote this book. Well, you probably shouldn't have written that book, to be honest. You probably shouldn't. It's a subject nobody wanted to hear. Nobody was interested. Nobody should be interested. You really should get in the sea for having anything to do with it. So, yeah, this is just a pathetic cope and seethe, effectively. She is just claiming that because she is subpar at her job, she received, you know, backlash and hate and stuff. Funny, though, we never heard about her until after the game was already irrelevant. Funny that, isn't it? Like, I'm getting so many death threats. Oh, wait, no one's talking about it anymore? No one's talking about the game at all? No one's talking about me? Oh, I need to find a way to make this all about me. Otherwise, what kind of a left-wing douche am I? Exactly. Stupid, unbelievable crap from a dumbass bitch. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to get a little bit positive for a second. So if you are liking the video, be kind, hit like, guys. Hit the like button. You know what to do. Here, I'll show you.
Like the stream.
That's right, buddy. Like the stream. Help me fill up this bar too. I want to get a good long session on Expedition 33 myself later. But before that, of course, let's go ahead and have a look at this amusing little article that came from us from Games Radar. Because apparently everybody is free to just enjoy Expedition 33. I wonder if that's got anything to do with the fact that it's good, it's uncontroversial, and everybody loves it. Claire Obscure Expedition 33's director first experience playing a JRPG was getting stuck on Final Fantasy VIII's first boss because he and his brother couldn't read. What's the first boss in FF8? The X-ATM-092? No, it's before that. It's the thing you have to... No, wait, it's Ifrit, isn't it? Yeah, it's Ifrit. Long before Clair Obscure Expedition 33 director Guillaume Broche was humbled by the success of the JRPG. I like that. I like that. That's kind of funny. That's clever. JRPG, yeah. He was humbled in a somewhat different way by one of its biggest inspirations, namely the first boss of Final Fantasy VIII. Jesus Christ. When the people who are making the games have not been playing the games that inspired the game for as long as you, the gamer, have. I mean, FF8, I was already like 13 when that came out. I know. Anyway, over the past 12 months, Broche has not been shy in naming heaps of the JRPGs that have helped share Clair Obscur. Just call it Expedition 33. From the stunning UI of Persona to the vibes of Final Fantasy. In a new interview with the Washington Post, however, he digs into how Final Fantasy VIII, his first JRPG, shaped what came after. He was just as taken with the character art and romantic tone as the rest of us are. Sure, but struggling with the combat arguably left the biggest impression as he could barely read at the time. Fucking hell. Whoa, buddy. Whoa. Cookie Kaiju for $30 Canadian. Thank you. Literally drops $30 and says nothing at all. Nothing at all. Amazing. You know what? We fill this bar. I'll play the booby clip again. But for you, for now, enjoy this.
I got this new anime plot. Basically, there's this high school girl, except she's got huge boobs. I mean, some serious hunkers. A real set of badonkers. Packing some Doban hunkeros. Massive da hunka bankaloos. Big old Tanahangera cougars. What happens next? Transfer student shows up one day with even bigger Bankhanaga hoogs. Humongous hungalamga no logangas.
Big support. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Cookie Kaiju, for that one. Thank you very much indeed. We are that close now. Wow. Christ. $8 and we are going back to Exposition 33. Did I say Exposition? Man, people fuck that name up so often. Okay. It came out at a time when my brother and I could barely read. This guy, how old is this guy? Guillaume Broche. Oh wow, he is younger than me for sure. Damn. Man, I did not expect that. Yeah, he must be like 10 years younger than me or something. Wow. All right. Cool. And hell yeah. He says, so we have very fond memories struggling against the first boss. We couldn't beat him because we couldn't read, and the only thing we knew how was just an auto attack, which is really bad. So you just thinking about that, Final Fantasy VIII gives you kind of a huge dump of how the systems work before you make it to the fire cavern. You get taught how to junction GFs. You have to go to your computer and actually get Quetzalcoatl and Shiva, and then you're kind of supposed to use Shiva to beat Ifrit, but you don't have to. You know, you can in fact just kick his ass. It's not very difficult. But if you can't read and you're trying to play Final Fantasy VIII, you ain't going to know that you can junction Quetzalcoatl or Shiva. How are you going to know that? The boss Broche refers to could be Ifrit if we're talking the fire cavern, though most wouldn't, as it's technically the tutorial area. Yeah, but it doesn't hold your hand. You still have to figure out how to do things. You still have to set the actual... Like, you don't even have options in your command bar unless you've set them yourself. You can't draw, you can't use magic, you can't improve your stats, you can't summon a GF. So yeah, I'm not surprised if you can't read, you're going to get your ass kicked. But then again, it could be the Elveret, yeah, that you face immediately after fighting FF8's version of Biggs and Wedge. But how did you get to Dolet if you literally can't read? That's weird. I think it's the fire cavern. I hope he... well, I guess he won't clarify because they don't know in this article. But there you go. Anyway, Black Widow, that's not what it's called. Is it called that now? Did they change the name? Because the name I remember for that fucking thing is the XATM092. The one you can run away from. Many times. Huh. So which one is it then? I'm thinking it's the fire cavern. A kid who can't read getting past the fire cavern, I'd say that's pretty unlikely. pretty unlikely. You know what I could do? I could call my nephew. I can get him over now because he can kind of read English now. See if he can get past the fire cavern. I could run my own little experiment. We'll find out. But there you go. No, I don't think you're going to get past the fire cavern if you can't read. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think, but seems a little sketchy to me. Regardless, it is ironic to me, especially as I am a colossal fan of the original Final Fantasy VII. I also like 8 a lot, although I don't like the redesign of the characters for the remake, or the remaster rather. I think they should have gone back to the original models and just sharpened them up a bit. Because as it stands right now, they're in this weird limbo between anime and reality now that doesn't look anything like Squall originally looked. I mean, he looked totally different in the promotional artwork for the game. Trying to see, like, I mean, we all know what Squall looks like, but just to get a point of reference, this character that we're seeing here does not look very much like this, which is what he's supposed to look like. I know, I had this poster on my wall, but that annoyed me anyway. But people shit on Final Fantasy VIII quite a lot these days. It's in that weird period where it was beloved and now it's hated. And then in about 10 years, everyone will love it again. Strange, but that's the way these things tend to go. But yeah, the long and the short of it is that game gets an awful lot of crap. But apparently, if we didn't get Final Fantasy VIII, we wouldn't be getting Expedition 33. So there you go. People who play turn-based games, they're never really able to let them go, which is funny because once again, Expedition 33 has had to school Square Enix themselves in teaching them that actually a modern looking, you know, double or AAA-esque, graphically speaking, and high production value turn-based JRPG can in fact dominate the industry if it's made with love and respect. And shout out to the guys who made Expedition 33. That game is just beautiful, just haunting. It's a brain parasite. I swear, it gets in your head and it won't let you forget about it. This is why I'm so desperate to get this bar filled up. So thank you. Didn't Final Fantasy have a minimum age requirement? Not strictly speaking. I think back then it was just, maybe it was rated 12 or something. But there you go. I don't know. So of course, let's move on. That was some good news though. Final Fantasy VIII getting its flowers there, which is kind of nice. Now we're going to have to deal with some bullshit, and that would be the Pal World situation, which I'm also behind on. Apologies for that, guys. Pal World announces content removal amid ongoing Pokemon lawsuit. So, yeah, Nintendo wants Pal World to not exist. They are humiliated. They are embarrassed. They are humbled by Pal World. And to be fair, Pal World is a good game. It's solid. I mean, I haven't played it since it was in like beta or whatever it was in when they first released it. Was it alpha? I can't even remember. But I very much enjoyed it for the couple of weeks that I spent playing it. I will go back to it one day if it still exists. Certain mechanics in it were a bit jank, but you could see the potential for it to become the Pokemon game people have been wanting for years and have never received. 1 second. Gotta wet the whistle. But so, of course, Nintendo claim ownership over the systems involved. Of course, there is no actual fair way to do that because they didn't really copy anything particularly apart from maybe aesthetically. The actual gameplay systems in the game, not that similar, frankly. It's just the whole throwing a ball thing. That's really all they've got. But anyway, Pal World announced another compromise in the ongoing legal battle with Pokemon and confirmed the disappointing removal of one PAL-oriented feature. Releasing in January 24, Pal World became a global phenomenon, boasting over 2 million concurrent players on Steam. But of course, comparisons were immediately made with Pokemon. Well, to be fair, if you took away the guns, I would think you were looking at Pokemon. Still today. That much you can't argue with. Although Pal World and developer Pocket Pair continue to contest the lawsuit, arguing invalidity and non-infringement, an announcement on X, formerly Twitter, stated that certain compromises were made in order to avoid disruptions to the development and distribution of Pal World. Yeah. And Nintendo don't give a fuck. It's getting easier and easier for me now to sort of say fuck Nintendo. In much the same way I've had to say fuck Disney. Like, if you can't see, obviously, what I can see in this room, but I'm looking at a pile of Nintendo consoles on a shelf in their boxes. I got a Wii, a GameCube, Super Mario All-Stars release of the Super Nintendo, an N64, you know, all of my old stuff and a bunch of games. And, you know, you just have to draw a line at a certain point. You have to. You've got to look at it and go, well, everything until this point was good and everything afterwards can fuck themselves. And for me, if at least right now, the line is being drawn at the release of the Switch 2 or the announcement of it. But it really should have been drawn at this. Because at this point, I'm genuinely like, it's no different for me than acknowledging that Doctor Who is dead, Star Wars is dead, Disney is corrupt beyond all recognition. Doesn't mean I won't watch, I don't know, Sword in the Stone, Lady and the Tramp, show these things to my children. Not going to show them modern Disney. Not allowed. Goodbye. I'll find my own way. And that's the way it'll have to be, I guess. It's not beyond me to be able to present the games that I do like from Nintendo on stream for you guys. We ran through Ocarina of Time at the end of last year, and early this year. And it was a great time. In fact, I think it was just early this year, yeah, because we hit 10,000 subs. And that was when I started doing gaming streams. Now, since then, we've played everything through Steam, but I could very easily run another Zelda game, and I know some of you guys want me to. Probably Wind Waker, if not Majora's Mask. Could do that again. Could run Mario Galaxy. Could run basically anything at this point. The only thing is you've just got to accept that at a certain point, you're not supporting it anymore. And it's a lot easier to do than you think. I'll still watch the original trilogy of Star Wars. I'll still watch classic Disney. I'll still play classic Nintendo. But I'm not supporting them any further until they stop acting like such cancerous entities in my entertainment space. And that's all there is to that. The latest compromise that Pal World has had to undergo is in patch V055. We're still only in the 0 era. Okay. Where gliding will be performed using a glider rather than with pals, although pals will continue to provide passive bonuses. When gliding, a glider must be present in a player's inventory. Great. Their vision has been compromised. Although such a switch may not seem significant at first glance, Pokemon is not the only game to use creatures or animals to assist in gliding, so the removal will be a blow to Pocket Pair. Yep. So they're bothered about that. They're bothered about being able to use the magical creature's abilities to help yourself traverse the world. I'm not sure that that's a unique thing to Pokemon. Off the top of my head, I'm struggling to come up with alternatives to it, but I'm not sure. I was never a Digimon guy. I don't know if Digimon let you do stuff like that as well, but it can't have only been the HMs and Pokemon. So how has the lawsuit impacted Pal World? Well, this isn't the first time Pal World has made adjustments amid the Pokemon lawsuit, with an update in November removing the ability to summon pals by throwing pal spheres. To be fair, devil's advocate here. It's not devil's advocate. It's just my own take. Pal spheres, really? Pokeballs, pal spheres. You kind of, yeah. You know that one is derivative of the other. There's not really much. I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily there has to be, but I guess if they'd called them pal balls, that would have been, inviting the controversy. Instead, switching it to a static spawn alongside the player. Fair enough. It was speculated this was due to the ongoing litigation, which has now been confirmed, although disappointing, the alternative would have led to an even greater deterioration of the gameplay experience for players. Nintendo, why are you fucking with gamers? People like these games. They're not interested in your fucking ego being stroked, okay? You have had Nintendo 20, 30 years, okay? Pokemon has been around for 30 years in Japan. In that time, you've spent 20 of them refusing to explore the real possibilities of the Pokemon franchise. Where's the MMO that people have been asking for 20 years? Where is that? And then when you finally do put full 3D Pokemon out there, you make it lame. Why can't you just have a world full of creatures? Just effectively, here's what you do, right? You create the anime, and I'm not talking about the modern anime, I'm talking Indigo League, right? You create that, but you make it completely explorable, make it WoW style or FF style or whatever you want, and you just have a new generation of people, and they can be, you can play as a kid, you can play as an adult, you know, you can have a beard, you can be a fucking fat, sweaty, bald-headed, bearded Pokemon collector like the hikers in that game if you want, or a hot chick, or whatever you want, and just roam around collecting Pokemon. Anywhere you want, anywhere you can get to. Maybe you can have some mechanics in there that steer people a certain way, whatever. And then it all culminates once a year in the fucking Pokemon League. Make it a real thing. Do it. License to print money. Why won't they do it? Why won't they do it? Bonkers. But there you go. Palworld came along and did arguably a single player version of that for them. Gogeta knows, here for 3 months, says if Palworld was a failure, Nintendo wouldn't care. Fucking A. Thank you for 3 months in the Grift Force. Guys, join the Grift Force. Okay, we have some very interesting crap that's been going on with Disney, another company that does not deserve your money. Again, I'm catching up with a bit of news here that I basically missed for like a week. So I'm just going to spam through these in about 5 minutes. It began with this one. Marvel uses Robert Downey Jr. to sell Ironheart ahead of the Disney Plus series, explaining why Riri Williams is more remarkable than Tony Stark. Yeah, it's pretty much cringe. The quote that's raising eyebrows, Thorne compared her background with Tony Stark's. She's dumpster diving, whereas Tony Stark was this bajillionaire. What she's able to accomplish is remarkable. Now, what she's able to accomplish is impossible. Okay? It is not possible to do this without being Tony Stark or possibly Bruce Wayne. And it's cringe. Absolutely cringe that they think it is. Ironheart was never organic. Riri Williams' original appearance in Wakanda Forever was widely viewed as forced, with many critics and fans noting that her inclusion felt like a Disney backdoor pilot rather than a natural fit for the story. That's because that's what it is, and we're all used to this stuff now. We've seen this. We've seen this a number of times. It got ridiculous. I mean, it's pretty damn clear that, the MCU is fucking dusted. The MCU is dead. It's ludicrous at this point. I don't even talk about it that much anymore because it honestly isn't really worth it. That franchise is lost. Hollywood is lost. I don't know if Trump and his ambassadors can do anything to save Hollywood at this point, but I don't think so. All things have to come and go. And, instead we are focusing most of our efforts on the gaming space because there is still something that we can accomplish in gaming. And we are accomplishing it, which is why Gamergate 2 terrifies the journo rats because they can't beat us. They have to sue us. Or they have to put us in ridiculous copy videos. There's that. Of course, there was a brief encounter with RDJ, describing the interaction as exciting exchange where the actor gave her a few words of encouragement and literally 2 thumbs up. Yay! RDJ, we respected you when you came back, but now you have sold out. Anyway, it got worse for Disney very quickly as the Abu Dhabi expansion began. Now, Abu Dhabi, guys, is the capital of the UAE. And, there's this little thing that seems to happen between, woke progressives and Arab countries. They're a little bit like oil and water, in much the same way that Ncuti Gatwa was not able to go to Africa to film the most recent episode of Doctor Who that was set in Nigeria. It was principally filmed, of course it was, in bloody Wales. And why? Well, some might say that the fact that being gay and non-binary and queer and walking around in women's clothing is a crime, punishable violently in Africa, and it probably wouldn't have done Gatwa very much good to get his head kicked in and thrown in jail in the country that bore him. Although not the country, the continent that bore him. He's actually from Rwanda. But anyway, Abu Dhabi expansion raises eyebrows as virtue signaling American company partners with restrictive Middle Eastern regime. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. And honestly, I'm just glad I finally got to talk about this because it's been on my docket for like a week. Walt Disney Company made waves with the announcement of its brand new theme park and resort coming to Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. While the project marks Disney's 7th global theme park destination, it also marks a chapter in the company's corporate strategy, doing business in regions that impose significant restrictions on personal freedoms, expression, and dissent. It's an ironic twist from a company that spends so much time at home making sweeping changes to its domestic parks and experiences for the sake of virtue signaling. But of course, it went on. It got on from there. Disney double dips as Disneyland Pride Night push notification drops the same day as Abu Dhabi theme park announcement. Cuckoo! What in the fucking world, Disney? There it was, Disneyland After Dark. Ooh, mate. Disneyland After Dark, or DAD for short. Get in the sea. Disneyland After Dark has Pride Night. In other words, hey, everybody, stick it up the member of the same sex and do it at Disney. But by the way, shout out to our new partners at the incredibly oppressive Abu Dhabi United Arab Emirates. So first came the initial announcement, Disney partnering to build a brand new theme park in Abu Dhabi, deep in the Arab Emirates, where personal freedoms are strictly regulated and events like Pride Night would never see the light of day. I see what you did there. Thank you very much. Then, just 2 hours later, a push notification lit up phones across the United States, proudly promoting Disneyland After Dark Pride Night, inviting guests to join us for a joyous after-hours party. Man, did you look like a fucking idiot there. Man, do you look ridiculous. So it resulted basically in a lot of felt for Bob Iger. What happened with Kirsche? Tell me in a minute. Emmy host Nate Bargatze rips Bob Iger in blistering Disney comment. That guy doesn't care about the audience. Conservative comedian and Emmy host Nate Bargatze stood up to one of the most powerful men in Hollywood, Bob Iger. He may be known for his clean, apolitical comedy, but that doesn't mean he won't speak up when it comes to what matters, respecting the audience. In other words, respect the fans. Anyway, in a new cover story for Esquire, let me know what happened with the Kirsche thing, because we're going to get to that next. The Emmy Awards host didn't mince words when asked who his biggest influences were. Bargatze named 4 icons: Jerry Seinfeld, based, Judd Apatow, woke, Adam Sandler, we're not sure, and Walt Disney, mega based, would never ever put up with any of this crap. Ever put up with any of this crap. No way. Have you ever seen Disney's old speeches about this? He fucking hated communism more than I do. No, I hate communism as much as he did. Absolutely as much as he did. So there you go. Anyway, he says, I meant Walt Disney the person, making it clear he wasn't referring to the modern day corporate empire. Why? Because in his view, Walt Disney genuinely cared about what he created. Yeah. He may have been somewhat anti-Semitic, according to some people. But what he really was anti-communist, anti-globalist, anti-America. Now Disney is run by a guy that's just a businessman, he added, referencing current Disney CEO Bob Iger. Well, that guy doesn't care about the audience. True story. True story. By the way, guys, help me fill up the bar. We are $8 away from Boobies and Expedition 33. That blunt statement landed like a thundercrap. Thundercrap! Ha! In an industry long accused of putting shareholders ahead of customers, and coming from Bargatze, someone with a reputation for avoiding controversy, it's even more damning. The comment reflects a growing sentiment among fans and creators alike that Disney, under Iger's leadership, has lost the spirit of the founder in favor of corporate maneuvering and soulless brand management. Oh, hello, welcome. Welcome, everybody, from 2018. Welcome to catching up with us where we were in 2018. For fuck's sake. This was clear to everybody. From the second they bought Star Wars, it was clear. Because what did they do next? They bought Marvel. And what did they do next? They bought Fox. So now if you want to watch The Simpsons, you actually have to watch it on Disney. Not on my watch, baby. Not on my watch. 30 terabytes. Okay. Theme park prices skyrocketed, blah, 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 monetization. So he's just having a go at the soulless cash grabbing of Bob Iger et al. And so there it is. Disney, get in the sea. Get in the sea. You are no longer welcome here with us civilized people. Quite frankly, that's the way it is. It's the way it's got to be. Tough titties, I guess. That's basically where we're at. From Disney humiliating themselves to Nintendo suing Palworld. It's a bleak old time. Of course, that hasn't affected everything. What's this? I got a DM. Oh, of course. Of course. And we'll be getting to that very soon. First of all, let's talk a little bit about Mercante and lawsuits. Because, of course, we have to. We do indeed have to. So, effectively, we are dealing with a situation right now where this thing feels like it should at least be coming to an end. But, of course, we've got this first. So, it was Piranha Pal, wasn't it? Yeah. The internet isn't ready for this. Mercante, the conehead, with the letter starred out. Very nice. Thank you very much. Appreciate you for that. But of course, 1 second here. I got fucking for crying out loud. Hold on. Get this back up on my screen because all the links have fucking disappeared. Oh well. In the meantime, uafomega for $10. That a boy. Thank you very much. Says nothing but boobies.
Come here, baby. Let me show something good. Something good. Something good. Something good.
Money, print money, cash, money, well, capitalism, raise a bunch of money, more money, heaps and heaps of money, print money, cash, money, well, capitalism, raise a bunch of money, super chat, money.
As salty as the sea, calling us broke code names, SJW screaming, but it's money they blame, burning with envy, they're falling flat, they can't handle the sound of a super chat.
Yeah, Yeah, thank you very much for that, buddy. We're going to be playing some Expedition 33 later on, and I appreciate you for that. The bar is full. So, Mercante, I'm not going to read all of this, by the way. That would be insane. I just wanted to get it on the screen. I looked at this now. I finally had time to go over it properly. And what I've discovered is, fuck reading this. It's 89 pages long and has absolutely nothing to say apart from the fact that they're felted. This has no fucking legal strength whatsoever, no legal potency at all. They have literally, at this point, Mercante and her lawyers had no choice but to backpedal and reconsider their original complaint twice, to the point that the complaint now has almost nothing to do with any of it. There's only really, it only exists at this point in order to do things like this. Say, Taja has further appeared on the YouTube channel of fellow streamer Hypnotic, Real Hypnotic 1. They're using his Twitter name as his primary, who streams from his residence in Long Island, which is not where he is. That's not where he is. Mercante, stop with this. She then, of course, uses some packages that were delivered to an area where Hypno could pick them up. And this is just stalker behavior. This is cringe. Like, you really need to not be doing that if you're trying to complain that you yourself are a victim of stalking and harassment. Then, of course, it gets worse because, of course, we all know that she decided to use this as a way to dox nobody or Jordan the Watney, because there's absolutely no point anymore in me trying to cover for that. One of his acquaintances within the gaming influencer community is Nowotny, I'm just going to call him that, who lives in or near Corvallis, Oregon. Oh, well, then in that case, he's not in New York, is he? Oh, dear. He revealed his face and full name as on April 19, 2025 live stream. Yeah, after you doxed him. After. Goes on about his Twitter accounts. Fucking hell. He has 2 different Twitter accounts. He has all this different stuff. He sometimes does fun little interactions between his Twitter accounts. Maddening. So obviously, it's ridiculous that this goes on at all, because it's pages and pages and pages and pages and pages, by the way. She tries to say that Smash JT directed nobody to do things. If you actually watch any of us reacting to nobody's first Alyssa Mercante video, especially most of us where we saw it for the first time, which was on Smashcast, you will realize very quickly none of us were expecting this to ever hit the live day. None of us had ever heard of this stuff. None of us had ever heard of the obsession with Lady Gaga. It made perfect sense, of course, but we never actually heard it. Never. Not once. And that is ridiculous. It's cringe that they've gone to this length to try and pin this on Smash JT. If he wants to champion somebody making videos to felt his enemies, that's up to him. That's totally fine. I have some enemies in real life. If people made videos to felt them, I would be laughing and clapping and cheering. Quite frankly, yes, I would. Yes, I would. That's all there is to say about that. Anyway, this legal document, as it stands, is not in any way appropriate for reading on any kind of live stream, but you can 100% go ahead and check it out at your own leisure. We will, however, just reestablish the utter domination that happened as a response to this, as we gear up for, of course, the grand felting of everything. Because at this point, if this thing is allowed to see the inside of a courtroom, there is already no justice in the bloody world. Okay, as of course, Ron Coleman, Ron the Hammer, Ron the Shovel will bury you. Coleman, wrote this letter, once again having to write again in this. It almost sounds weary at this point, like, do I really have to do this again? Okay, fine. And if that's what it's going to be, that's what it's going to be. He says, Dear Judge Brody, that would be Margot Brody, USDJ, saying, we represent defendant Jeff Tarja, blah, 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 blah. Defendant wishes to file a motion to dismiss the second amended complaint. Guys, you shouldn't be able to get a third amended complaint. Okay? But I understand if the judge has to cover her own ass, if the judge has to watch out for the current political climate and see, well, you know, yes, this is bullshit, but I can't just throw it out without being potentially cancelled myself. And if the judge feels that way, there's not a lot we can do about that. But we can say, you know, get on with it. The judge effectively here is basically trying to give them as much rope as possible so that when she inevitably has to, this is my opinion, by the way, so that when she inevitably has to throw it out because it has no merit, she can be seen to have done everything that was possible to allow Mercante to actually come up with a complaint that holds any water. Which they can't, because they have no complaint. Everything is, you know, literally the result of having false definitions left, right, and center. Criticism is not harassment, Mercante. It is not. Okay, you can't sue people for this stuff. You just can't. You really are not to do this. It's humiliating, especially when she herself is the one who infiltrated Smash JT's family and DM'd his wife, not on Twitter, but of course on Facebook. She is the one who did all this stuff. But there you go. It is what it is, I guess. But there we go. Now, of course, it says here, the sack has been tailored in an attempt, that's the second amended complaint, in an attempt to address the deficiencies identified by the defendant in the original complaint, particularly in terms of specificity, legal sufficiency, and alternative claims. The attempt, however, falls short, and in some respects has resulted in a pleading that is actually legally weaker than the original. Yeah, well, they've had to literally acknowledge the arguments that can be made against the original complaint and the first amended complaint. We have, in fact, literally had to see these articles that have been produced by the Lolyssa Mercante legal team that have pivoted away from the original complaint. Yeah, it is extremely nebulous and legally weak to consistently have to be changing your narrative. Bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. So anyway, here we go. Personal jurisdiction is the first major reason why this cannot possibly work. Cannot work. And that is that the SAC acknowledges that Mr. Taj is a resident of California. So that throws away any of that pretty much immediately. And of course, it says here, Mr. Taj directed his conduct towards plaintiff in New York resident and that his website can be used in New York. So can any website be used in New York? By that reckoning, any of us who've used YouTube, no matter where we are in the world, would have jurisdiction in New York. That's absolute fucking nonsense. Absolute fucking nonsense. But there it is. A series of novel allegations that Mr. Tarja has friends in New York, none of whom are defendants, but who also allegedly harasses the plaintiff. No, that's not true at all. For starters, it doesn't work with Hypnotic if that is indeed the person you're responding to in New York, who is not in New York, because he's not in New York. Secondly, Hypnotic has stopped making videos about Lolyssa Mercante now for, 6 months? Something like that? It's been a while that he has not bothered. He's got bigger fish to fry. Hell, he's not even producing OBS videos anymore. He's doing the new style, which we all really appreciate and likes people to react to, which I will be doing in a little while. But yeah, so no, there is no actual freaking jurisdiction in New York. Then comes the second, much bigger problem. Even if you were to somehow allow jurisdiction in New York, the reality here is that the claim is irrelevant. There is no claim. As a threshold matter, defendant respectfully submits again that the SAC epitomize the kind of pleading referred to by this court in Reich v. Lopez. When it wrote, this court, by the way, this court, when it wrote, although plaintiff's claims include, in addition to defamation, tortious interference with prospective economic advantage, trade libel, and injurious falsehood, all of these causes of action sound in defamation. New York courts treat harm stemming from injury to reputation as sounding in defamation. So it's not another thing on top of defamation. Not that the defamation actually has any legs in the first place. Plaintiff has shifted her emphasis away from that found in the original complaint, where the operative allegations of which were the defendant referred to as the plaintiff as a whore and a sex worker. Of course, it is proven repeatedly by not only this document, not the one before it either, or the one before that as well, but by every single one of us in every video that we've made since the first fucking videos we made about her, the ones that she is including in her little manifesto video on all of us. She calls herself a sex worker. She calls herself a sex worker and then says it's not a bad thing. Shouldn't be a crime. She's responded to it. Happy International Whores Day. I used to be a cam girl, she says. Sex work is work. Phew. Not sustainable by law. And of course, finally, we see here, the SAC also includes an unusual argument, a pre-argument against future arguments from from Smash JT. Tasia will also likely argue that a December 21, 2023 tweet from Mercante that she should go back to sex work. Yeah, because they already argued that. Because at least then when she gets fucked a lot, she'll get paid well for it. Statement followed by a laughing emoji with its tongue hanging out. That statement is obviously a joke. This is not a laughing emoji. This is a wacko, jacko, zany, crazy, crackpot, blah, blah, what am I like emoji that does not diminish the truth in any way, shape, or form of what she said. And it lines up with the countless other times that she said she's a sex worker, not least of which when she said it on David Jaffe's channel. You are fucked. This is fucked. So, of course, they had to move away from that claim and say instead that it's got to do with him calling that a crime. Oh, it's apparently about the fact that he said it's actually a crime to engage in sex work. But that's not going to work either. And at the end of the day, none of this works because you haven't got a legal, what's the word here, claim. And you need to have some kind of solid legal ground to be able to pursue this as a defamation case. Otherwise, what you are engaging in is a slap lawsuit. Strategic lawsuit against public petition and participation, which is a criminal offense. It is against the law to launch these kinds of lawsuits. Attorney's fees in that sense shall be recovered upon a demonstration that an action involving public petition and participation was commenced or continued without a substantial basis in fact of law. This is black and white. This is cut and dry. I'm not a lawyer, but that's how it seems to anyone with common sense. Now, of course, the court has to try and give Alyssa as much fucking rope as possible while allowing her to consistently and repeatedly defame Smash JT, as well as Nobody, Hypnotic, and anybody else that she claims that she can. She is here just committing thousands of acts of defamation. Wait, where's that picture? That might actually help me for a second because there was something else that I needed. Yeah. So this was a while ago. What's the March 13th, 2024. The name and the slogan. What's she wearing? Oh, it was photoshopped, right? But the picture itself was from when? When is it? Not sure. But one thing's for certain, one thing's for dead certain, she wasn't a neck-length blonde hair pain in the ass, as she would like us to think she was in this picture. In her new magnum opus, which, yes, includes clips seemingly from yours truly. Have I found the fucking low-res one again? Hang on. Hold on a moment, folks. Hang on. I'm going to open it in a new tab. And boom, here we are. Yeah, you can see my videos. There's 2 of them. There's a couple of Hypnotic videos, even though they've been irrelevant for ages. By the way, the videos that she's pulling here to make her video about us are from over a year ago. Over a year ago. I've since become much more sympathetic to her since I realized that she is likely mentally ill. But that hasn't stopped her, has it? That hasn't stopped her from wanting to make this crazy video where she's going to, Jesus, where she's going to try to felt all of us. And I can't wait for this. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much. She's also, of course, as we know, doing all of this because she wants to boost her relevance for a book she wants to write about Gamergate, a book that has no relevance or bearing in reality. Because, well, let's be honest here, Lolyssa was not really very active in Gamergate. I mean, she wasn't doing very much 10, 12, 13, 14 years ago at all. She was, in fact, making videos like this one.
Release date for the Mass
I guess she never learned to fix her fucking audio.
And I am currently in the process of downloading it. Active downloads, 61% complete. We're getting there. It's been downloading for about 10 minutes now, I would say. That is the fairly...
Oh dear, boring. Boring. Wait, so you're playing the Mass Effect 3 demo and you're not filming it?
lower the difficulty because I wasn't getting through it.
She said, did you hear that?
I had to lower the difficulty because I wasn't getting through it.
I had to lower the difficulty because I wasn't getting through it. Dear oh dear.
Ooh, it's the Avenger. I just picked it up with a dead body over here.
This is pure cringe, by the way.
We're literally going to step on an M something Avenger. It's automatic.
Boring.
Fully automatic.
Boring. Honestly, it's no wonder that channel only ever got to like 250 subscribers. But there you go, man. There you go. She, of course, went from looking like a relatively sane person to, again, what do we get? A decade later? Well, this. Ah! Get it off the screen. Get it off the screen. Then, of course, you know, we know what happened next. She became obsessed with Lady Gaga and all the other stuff as well. Hi, Lolyssa, if you're watching. And hello, nobody. You have no problem with me reading your name and you saying it in the doc. All right. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Appreciate it. But there you go. That's what's going on with her. She's trying to sue everybody without actually having to sue everybody. She's unable to sue some people. So instead, she's decided that what she's going to do is put us all in a video. All right. Cool. Thanks for the free advertising, dumbass. All right. That's what we're going to. That's what we're going to do. Anyway, we have something else that's going on because she decided she was going to step into the Kirsche situation. And we don't like that. But we have had a bit of a win on the whole Kirsche front. Currently, what's actually happening is a hashtag. A little hashtag that's trending everywhere. Oh, James Up for $5 says, I can't wait for her to get sued for libel after she publishes her book of lies. Yeah, baby. Class action? Well, there we go. Anyway, I asked Grok to summarize exactly what's going on with the hashtag I stand with Foxu. because it has started as of yesterday as a show of support for Kirsche, who was targeted by critics, accusing her of controversial views, including allegations of white supremacy and neo-Nazism. Supporters claim these accusations were taken out of context to smear her. Yeah, they were. They frankly were. Context of the campaign post on X suggests the harassment was driven by jealousy and ideological differences. Yeah, well, we all got to look at the creature that was behind it, of course. And it wasn't the best, not really at all. Critics reportedly tagged her sponsors and media outlets to pressure them into cutting ties with her. The hashtag I Stand With Foxu movement reflects a backlash against cancel culture, with fans and other creators rallying to defend Kirsche. They argue the accusations are baseless and on a broader pattern of targeting independent creators who don't conform to certain ideological norms. Hello, the free and fair internet trying to get free there. Look at that. Some companies reportedly distanced themselves from Kirsche, while others, like Side Scrollers, publicly supported her by planning to collaborate. Well, she's a guest on Side Scrollers regularly, so that's not surprising. Craig started it. Yeah, I know. And it's trending. It's trending all over the place. It really is. She's there, of course, as part of it. The Anna Valens, who, of course, is a man, is there as well. There's another one. I Stand With Foxu. I Stand With Foxu from, then, of course, literally pointing out that N Binted is just jealous. We've got more. I Stand With Foxu. I Stand With Foxu. This picture is not the ironic win they think it is. Anti-left VTuber action. Yeah. I like that. Might have that. Thank you. That's a nice image. Yeah. I like it. And keeping. Thank you. Anyway, I'm not a VTuber, but it's worth it. You could use that if you were Hypno. Anna agrees this is organized harassment. Irony of that second image. Yeah, we've got all the stuff here. Putting a target on you personally. We're just telling people about things she does. In the space of 2 sentences, reveals that she is, in fact, guilty of harassment campaign in much the same way that Alyssa is. So, of course, this is trending everywhere. Savvy's here. I Stand With Foxu. Then, of course, we've got more people here as well. More and more and more people are just posting this. I've posted it as well. Of course, I have. Let's go. I Stand With Foxu. 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 Guys, cancel culture is dead. They don't want it to die. They won't let it die, but it's dead. And no one knows that better than your boy, Hypno, who released a video about it. One that I haven't got around to watching yet. And we'll react to from now until the end of the stream. So thank you guys for filling the bar. Thank you for everything. We're going to have a little look at Hypno's video. As he literally told me, like, he wants people to react to these. And I'm happy to. Very happy to. Glad he's doing the work. Glad he's doing it this way. Shout out to Hypno.
Looks like cancel culture is back at it again. And this time it is going after Kirsche. Now, you're probably asking yourself, who is Kirsche? Well, not many of you, because most of you probably know who Kirsche is. Kirsche is a VTuber who dares to speak her mind, which I know in today's world is not exactly something that's very accepted. Opinions are policed heavily. Mainstream media will hunt you down for clicks over the supposed truth. And Kirsche finds...
Absolutely fucking true. Happens all the time. And yet they still insist that it's not cancel culture, it's just consequence culture. Well, then, in that case, we are the consequence culture for Alyssa Mercante. We're not actually trying to cancel her. We are literally just trying to show her that if you say stupid shit on the internet, people are going to have a go at you. Kirsche, on the other hand, is saying completely sensible shit and being outed and attacked by the crazies. Seriously, I don't know what we're going to do with these people. Give them an island? Give them their own little island?
Herself in the crosshairs of Vice Media, which is an organization that essentially houses a bunch of angry mob of online leftists. But what's really going on here, and why does it matter more than just one creator losing sponsors? We're going to talk about it. So shout out to all of you 86,700 plus legends that are out there right now, and the nearly 44% of you that are not subscribed.
Inspired by Nerdrotic, I see.
Consider hitting that subscribe button. And
yes, that's a better way to phrase it, Adam Juman. We're canceling cancel culture. That's what we are.
Joining today, I would greatly appreciate it. So let's talk about those who are unfamiliar with Kirsche and what she actually does.
I'm not interested in canceling people. I don't even want to cancel Mercante. It was bad phrasing on my part. I want people like them to realize that if they get shouted down by the overwhelming majority, there's nothing they can do about it.
does on her channel. So for those who are unfamiliar, Kirsche is a rising VTuber known for her, let's just say, bold opinions and unapologetic humor, and her overall refusal to bend the knee, which is really what all of this is about, by the way. Her refusal to bend the knee to political correctness and the police that surrounds that political correctness. She's built a loyal fan base.
Looks like you've had a bit too much to think. That's a good picture.
Being a raw, real, and completely uncensored for the most part, which again, unsurprisingly, has ruffled feathers in the more sensitive corners, let's just say, of the internet. But recently, her presence and popularity has made her a target. Vice Media, which is a publication that's become notorious for injecting far-left ideology into multiple hit pieces, has ran an article that has painted Kirsche as supposedly problematic.
Oh, man. This is the thing, right? VTubers, this is why they hate this, because VTubers have been predominantly left. VTubers and, you know, hot tub streamers, people like that, very often fall on the left side of politics. A couple come out who say the opposite, and everyone loses their mind because they are destroying the narrative.
Bigoted and dangerous.
Like when a black guy comes out, and like when Dave Chappelle comes out as a black dude and says that all this cancel culture is bullshit.
And what are their sources, you may be asking? Well, clearly they are tweets and clips that are usually taken out of context, and a whole lot of moral grandstanding and fake outrage that they rely on in order to push their narrative that they're looking to push. Now, again, I'm not going to sit up here and pretend as if Kirsche is magically innocent in every single scenario, to be honest with you. I don't really know Kirsche like that. I mean, she does toe a pretty bold, brassy line when it comes to this stuff. Like, she's not holding back. She's not pulling punches. She's not even trying to, like, be subtle about it. So, you know, that's fine. That's her way of doing things. And yeah, you'll get more flack than those of us who try to be a little bit more careful with our verbiage. But no, like, you know, leave her alone. Consume her content on the
She's
random,
not lying.
and occasionally I will come across one of her live streams or one of her videos.
Certainly not done anything that Hassan Piker hasn't done.
Or whatever the case may be. Kirsche overall seems like one of these VTubers that has indeed gone into the overall political sphere. You know, for me personally, I tend to focus my content more so on the gaming industry and the entertainment industry as a whole. But every once in a while, I will cover something like this because it's important to talk about it. Anytime you have the situation where a creator is being canceled because of their opinions on topics that everybody should have a right to have an opinion about, it ends up being one of those ridiculous sentiments that they try to set, which is, well, this is not cancel culture, it's consequence culture. And we all know that's BS because it's just a group of people that are miserable with their own lives and they're trying.
Yeah, fucking right it is. It's a bunch of people who literally have no lives. These are the actual basement dwellers, the actual neckbeards, the actual losers.
To ruin someone else simply because of their opinions not lining up with theirs. But let's talk about the actual consequences of what happened with the fallout of Kirsche. So they were pretty fast. Following the publication of Vice's hit piece, several companies that had previously partnered with Kirsche, including the developers of the game Crime Boss, which we're going to get into later on in this video, they all dropped her. Not because she broke any rules necessarily, not because she harmed anyone,
just said
but
a
because
couple of things they didn't like.
And a few loud voices on Twitter didn't like her opinions or didn't like her attitude. Kirsche had then responded publicly to the backlash, stating the following: sponsorships are gone, not because I scammed anyone or hurt anyone, but because of a narrative that was built on lies. I will keep speaking the truth even if they try to silence me. And again, this isn't just about one creator losing money. It's about a system that punishes people for not conforming to any one particular ideology. And
exactly right again.
I want to make it very clear. I am not taking anyone's side necessarily in this particular video. I just want to talk about the cancellation itself and how ridiculous it is that we are in a world where people feel like they need to go after someone's money, livelihood, or...
Yeah, people like Nick Calandra, Nick the Fink, of course, tried to go after Smash JT, got his website shut down, cheered on, of course, by Alyssa Mercante. It's all connected, guys. It's all connected, and it all wants to just take away your right to think for yourself. Arrive at your own conclusions. There's a grand narrative lie, of course, that we are an organized harassment campaign as opposed to the actual organized harassment campaign that is the left. We are not organized. There are pockets of minor organization between us, which are not really organized themselves either. More affiliated is the word, not organized. But, you know, were we to ever actually organize, we would probably crush them utterly, which is why it might be an idea to organize. But at the end of the day, they want to take your funding. They want to take your ability to earn money. They want to take your ability to protect your family in this world. And that is disgusting. It might as well be an act of warfare.
Just in general themselves, they threaten them a lot of the time. They want to do this simply because they saw something online that they just couldn't understand how they could be saying.
Yeah, you're right, by the way, Hook. The left are so far left that anything even slightly to the right of it looks far right to them.
that, right? A lot of these people live in echo chambers and they don't realize it. They don't realize that they're in a world that their own little bubble is highly protected. And the moment that bubble is even remotely pierced, you end up with a situation like what we have here happening before us. This is not the first time this has happened, by the way. It's a very familiar story. We've seen it happen to creators like PewDiePie, for example, who was pretty much labeled everything under the sun.
Oh, God, I remember that. Yeah, years ago, PewDiePie. Oh, he's a Nazi. Oh, is he? Is that what he is? PewDiePie? That goofball? Didn't take, did it? The guy's fine.
Based on multiple manipulated clips. And then we also saw it happen recently to Gina Carano, who, by the way, is still suing Disney over this. She lost her role at The Mandalorian for political opinions that over half the country...
Correct opinions, by the way.
...holds, ironically. But what happened after all of those cancellations, you're probably saying? Did they actually get canceled? Well, not exactly. PewDiePie is still one of the most successful creators on the planet to ever...
Still got 110 million subscribers. He's semi-retired now. He's raising a kid in Japan.
...grace the platform of YouTube, and Gina Carano landed her own movie deal shortly after the supposed cancellation and is doing just fine. She manages to fill up lines upon lines upon lines of fans at every convention.
Yeah, because everybody loves Gina Carano. Because she's a delight.
She goes to.
And because she got fucking wrongfully screwed by Disney.
And makes more money probably doing that than she ever did being featured in The Mandalorian. How ironic is that? If you want to talk about another target of cancel culture that has always failed, we could talk about Dave Chappelle. He's supposedly another cancel figure,
one.
and yet somehow, some way, continues to sell out every single show that he does. And not only that, every special that he releases on Netflix is a banger, to the point where Netflix themselves, one of the wokest companies out there, absolutely will not cancel him. Even
no, they won't. He's far too profitable. They would be screwed if they got rid of him.
Know they have done it to other people in the past. They won't cancel Dave Chappelle. Some say it's because he's black. Other people say it's because they can't, because they need him. His shows are so successful on Netflix that they absolutely need him. So the ultimate truth is that when cancel culture overreaches, and trust me, it always does, it eventually collapses under its own weight, because most people just aren't buying the BS anymore. Most people aren't buying the fake moral grandstanding anymore, or the fake outrage anymore. It's just not being bought. So now why does this all matter? Well, if cancel culture succeeds in silencing Kirsche, it's going to send the following message, which really is, if you step out of line, you'll be erased or you'll be dealt with. And that's pretty ridiculous, because again, it just doesn't stop with influencers. It bleeds into everything that we talk about and everything that we do on a daily basis. It'll bleed into your gaming, which by the way, it already has. It'll bleed into film, which again, it already has. Politics, obviously, and just everyday life in general. This isn't just a war on Kirsche that they might be trying to do. It's a war on individuality, which has been happening for a long time. A war on...
Now that is absolutely correct. It is a war on individuality. And this is the great thing about, not like you've said there, Hook, not being a centralized or organized body. We are free to each individually attack or defend whatever the hell we like. It just happens that we have organically come together because we all happen to agree. We all saw this bullshit for what it is, and then as a result of that met each other. We didn't meet at the course that they all have to take to become a leftist.
Basically comedy, which
aka the GDC.
Again, people try to say comedy is dead because everybody wants to get offended over everything.
Yep.
It's a war on just overall dissent. And when dissent is punished,
the tide is turning. By 2030, I think, assuming the WEF haven't got their way, the pendulum will be fully in the other direction again.
You don't get justice, you get tyranny, which again, this is what we are experiencing every single day. So now let's go over Kirsche's statement, because she actually made a statement over on Twitter recently where she talks about the overall thing that happened with the company that is behind the video game Crime.
That's right. Yeah, she did.
Boss. Now, this is why I'm particularly covering this, because she is a influencer that is in the gaming space, but this is also a video game developer studio that has decided to part ways with Kirsche because of a hit piece from Vice, because of nothing else other than the hit piece from Vice. That is literally it. They decided to say, yep, they're guilty, she's guilty because I believe so, and Vice said so.
Meet Kirsche Vestal, says the Journo Rat. One of her fans is a bona fide, you know the word.
This is what happens. So with that being said, and keep in mind, this company has doubled down, by the way, which we'll get in.
Maybe it is. I don't know. I mean, what do you want me to do? Like, what do you want me to say? There are probably a few of those people in the world. There are a hell of a lot more communists, though.
To in a second as well. So this is Kirsche's statement. She says, a month into a life ruination campaign started by people who hate me, and during a pre-planned vacation where communication and access to my home and resources were minimal, in-game studios, developers of Crime Boss Rockay City, a game that
I remember when I was on vacation once, and the company I'd started to implode back home, and I could do only a little to do with it, get on my laptop and try and communicate with the people who were trying to help it. It wasn't a good time. It wasn't a good time.
I loved and heavily promoted since its release in 2000.
It was like my first vacation since starting the company too. It's just like that perfect time to completely screw with us.
2023 dropped their relationship with me. They were swayed by anonymous posts, Reddit users who admit to not watching me, people who lie by omission, and people who strawman all of my stances. And to cap it off, a muckraker from a dying news outlet with an axe grind decided to compile it all into an article with no more integrity than the Tumblr blog
a trans muckraker too.
They not doubt had, or I should say no doubt had. That's just reading her comments. This company is not experiencing cancel culture. My audience were paying customers who are voting with their voice and their wallet after a company makes an astronomically poor decision that they disagree with. They are not review bombs. These are not people who don't own the game brigading. In-game are experiencing what happens when you capitulate to cancel culture. These two things are not the same. It's incredibly obvious and everybody knows it.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Not a word wrong there. Hypno smashing it as always. All right, guys, I need to wrap up this show because I have got a couple of things that I have got to do, and we are going to have to get over to the man himself, Hypnocast, very soon. So I'm going to wrap this up for today. I'll be back, of course, tomorrow with another one. And in the meantime, I'll be playing some Expedition 33 a little bit later. But for now, thank you very much for checking out episode 56 of HyperDrive Time. I will also shout out to Saint Hugo, Cookie Kaiju, Gogeta, uafomega, and James Ob for kindly donating, filling the bar up and making it so that I can have a good old lengthy game later. I appreciate all of you. You guys rock. You're amazing. I will catch you in the chat on one or two of the other streams that are going on today and hopefully pick up where we left off in Expedition 33 sometime later today. Appreciate you. Have a great time. I'm going to leave you with the credits as I have to dash and go and deal with some crap that's come up. But I will be back, like I said, this time tomorrow. Come check it out. And we'll be trying to make sure that we don't have any gaps in the fucking streaming from now on. In the meantime, have a great time. Here come the credits. Enjoy. Watch your name scrolling up. And I'll see you next time. Thank you very much again. Take care now. Bye-bye.